About 2,000 people came out for the Americans for Prosperity's Defending the American Dream Summit in the Wisconsin Dells on Saturday.
People who 2 years ago weren't focused on politics, who today are very focused on government overspending and government overreach, and they immediately go back to the Founding Fathers and the Constitution. What a healthy thing to realize that when people recognize they're in trouble, they reach back to the Constitution, the Bill of Rights, the Founding Fathers, where the country's supposed to be going.
The energy is electric. There are three things animating people. Number one, they see a clear and present threat coming out of Washington, D.C., manifesting itself in this healthcare takeover, attempted healthcare takeover, in the global warming charade where they tried to push cap and trade through, a card check. Those are the big three domestic priorities last year, and the American people roundly have rejected those three. And for that reason, you've seen, I think, a record number of Americans getting active. They see a clear and present threat, and they're doing what Americans always do in the face of a challenge. They're getting up and fighting.
Organizers say most of the people who come out to these events were never really involved in politics before, but they no longer feel they can just stand off to the side.
When I go to our Americans for Prosperity rallies and events and town halls, and I've been to hundreds of them in the last year and a half or so, I always ask one question: what do you want from government? And you can imagine the answer is in many different forms, but the one theme that stands out is we just want to be left alone. We want to live our lives, enjoy our freedoms.
So now, some of us who've been involved in this for a long time, first reaction of the Tea Partiers might be, and you only realize there's a war on now? You haven't noticed this creeping up on you for the last 20, 30, 10 years? And the answer was no. I was running my life. I was raising my family. I was working. Nobody told me I should fear the government and that the government might do very bad things to my future and my kids' future. But now that I'm alerted, I'm here, and let's go do something about it. So it's reinforcements. It's new blood. For those of us who've been working on this for a while, it is so refreshing.
Democrats in Congress hope to wrap up their work on health care reform this week. It was a coincidence the Defending the American Dream Summit fell on the weekend right before that. Americans for Prosperity hope to channel its members' energy from the weekend for what could be one last push to stop the bills.
They know these guys don't listen. I mean, the president, I think, communicated it best, and I mean best in a worse sense, the day after the State of the Union speech when he was asked by ABC News, why is your health care initiative having so much trouble? And he actually said, I guess I'm just not communicating it properly and well enough to the American people. In other words, the American people must not be hearing me properly, because if they were listening to my ideas and getting it, they would clearly be for it. I think Americans hate that kind of arrogance.
And as soon as Congress is done with health care reform, Americans for Prosperity says it's ready for the next fight.
When this battle is over, we need to pivot to the federal budget, because that's when the appropriation bills will start rolling down the highway. And we need to take those on as a movement, one by one, and fight them in the same determined, sustained way that we've taken on this healthcare takeover.
For the MacIver Institute, I'm Bill Osmolsky.